Handballs, jump ropes, tether balls. We're talking play next on the Bedley Brothers.
That's right, Scott. We've got a very special guest with us here today, Kevin Carroll. I'm sure many of you are already familiar with him. He was the keynote speaker in Atlanta at ISTE. He's an author. He speaks all over the place. He's a change agent. He's the instigator of inspiration, as he calls himself, or the provocateur of play. And that's what we're really interested in talking to you about today, because we're passionate about getting kids outside, getting them playing. And so straight out of Portland, Oregon. Welcome to the show, Kevin.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, fellas. Good to be with the B brothers. Yes.
So why don't you get us started and let us know where is your passion? What do you see as the need in our culture for play?
I think that play is integral into any of our success and any of the things that we want to accomplish in life, because it really does answer a lot of our questions. It's a wonderful gentleman, Friedrich Froebel, who created kindergarten, and he has a series of gifts called the Froebel gifts. And the very first gift he said that every child should receive is a ball, because a ball explains the world. The ball responds to you. You can master it. The ball will roll away from you. You have to chase it. You can invite someone to play with it. It's just, he said it's a remarkable toy, but he said it's even more so, it's serious. Right, as far as what it does for the formation of understanding the world and all the things around it. So Friedrich Froebel started that, decades ago, the idea that a ball should be the first gift the child receives. And so I truly believe that, play is serious business, and play is serious in the business of advancing the human condition. And the more that we think about it, the more that we respect it, the more that we honor it and celebrate it, I think anything is possible. And I witness it all over the world, people rising above their circumstances, their ability to do things with very little, being resourceful and resilient, all through their playfulness. And I just think it's a powerful tool, and we shouldn't ever marginalize it. We need to celebrate it more and honor it.
Yeah, Kevin, I was at an ed camp, and a friend of mine, Greg, said, play needs a rebrand because it's seen as frivolous or like a reward of some kind. And it's not. It's really so important and vital to for all of us, really, but especially for children and how they develop this perspective. So what are some key elements that you think schools need to use to integrate play into what they're doing?
Well, there's a lot of things going on around that idea of rebranding it and really elevating it again, right? Reawakening it, I guess, is probably the better way to look at it than rebranding it, right? Is how do we reawaken play and its necessity and importance in the education system? And I think, Dr. Rattay, he has a book called Spark, where they actually do exercises before they do any lessons. So students actually learn a series of exercises before they do a math lesson, social studies lesson, language arts. And the teachers are actually trained, and you get certified to be a Spark teacher. And an entire school can become a Spark school, right? So physical activity is a part of the learning process. It's part of the curriculum, and they see it as an amplifier of educational success. But I think that's one example of how we can start to integrate it again and really honor it and value it. But even more so, how do we stop, eliminating the playtime, be it physical education, be it recess, be it just unstructured play moments, just any of those things? How do we invite imagination back into the classroom? And that's going to come through play. And I think the more that we recognize, to your point, that it is not frivolous, it's very valued, it's very necessary, and stop treating it as this thing that really is, it's the first thing you can cut in a budget. It's the first thing that you can let go of. It's the first people you can fire, right? Physical education teachers, right? We don't need them, right? We can get rid of that, right? And the arts are another thing. Don't get me started on the arts too, man. I'll go off about that too. But these were all things where you get a chance to discover a lot of things about yourself. And so I think the more that we don't devalue it and we recognize its importance, and that it becomes as celebrated and tested, if you will, as all the reading, writing, and arithmetic, right? How do we have recess needs to be the fourth R, right? We need to add that in there, right? So we should have 4 R's and then test for all of that, knowing that that's important to the development of a student and their future success.
So Kevin, when we heard, Today Show reports that school districts like in Florida are canceling recess, right? I mean, is this insane? Have we gone so far overboard on this accountability testing thing that we've lost like a clear perspective? I mean, is that what's happening here, or is it just?
Yeah, well, it's a panic move, right? I mean, if I ratchet up the pressure on a school district to deliver numbers against the testing, right? Then what are you going to do? What is the response of the leadership? We need to eliminate some things so that we can hit our numbers, or we're in trouble. They're not even thinking of it as the impact that will have on our student body. They're thinking about impact on themselves, right? And they're thinking about their livelihoods as opposed to the future generation of leaders, makers, doers, and dreamers. And I think that's really, we've skewed so far the other way, and it's really creating this, it's so out of balance now. It's just really frustrating. And you hear administrators, they don't want to do it, but they're pressured into it. There's a lot of really great administrators. They don't want to do it, but they're pressured. Wow. And so there's that tension, right? What do? I'm being called upon by the school board and all these people that we need to hit these numbers. And if I don't hit those numbers, I'm out of a job. And I can understand that tension. I can understand that worry and concern. Can you imagine how hard it must be to sleep at night knowing that you're taking away things from students that makes them well-rounded citizens, teaches them really amazing life lessons, right? We know all the things you take away from play. We all recognize that, all of us who've had a chance to grow up with those things that students aren't getting. So we realize all the social value of play and all the wonderful things you take away from it, and they're not getting it. So why do you think all of a sudden there's more of the bullying? There's more of the social issues. There's more we're not getting a chance to work that stuff out and learn how to resolve those things in an unstructured environment. So I think that's really one of the biggest challenges that schools are facing, right? Is the pressure to meet the numbers, yet we know it has deleterious effects on the children. We know that. So therein lies the rub, right? I mean, we're not going to solve that right here, but let's solve it. Let's solve it, Kevin. I'm going to get on my soapbox, though, man, because I know it's important.
We're on that.
Well, that's a good soapbox you're on. That's for sure. I mean, and one thing you said really. Oh yeah, one thing that you said really struck a chord with me, and that is having to do with jobs. And I think that a lot of times is what it comes down to. Is that I had a colleague that used to joke all the time at staff meetings when something new would be coming down, or like, why are we doing that? And he's like, well, because the purpose of education is to employ adults. And a lot of that's true, because if you give kids unstructured playtime, what need is there for an adult? You got to supervise them to a certain extent, but now we don't need all these people that are creating all these, programs for kids and all this stuff, because we're just letting them play. There's no curriculum needed. So a lot of it, I think, comes down to this pressure, like you're talking about, for people to be employed, and they're put in these positions. So they have to shove stuff down at the schools and say, okay, now you need to do this. Now we need to have health curriculum. Now we need to have computer curriculum. And it's like all these things we're supposed to somehow shove down these kids' throats all day long. The teachers are feeling the pressure because these are their bosses. And but the kids are the ones that suffer because they don't get to play.
You actually can utilize the adults, because as we all know, right, we're in the business world and adult world, debriefing, right? So students need to be debriefed. What did we just learn out here today? What did I observe? So there's wonderful takeaways you can give to the students. Hey, I saw you all, struggling and scuffling a little bit over there, and then you resolved it. You know what that is? That's this lesson in life, right? Conflict resolution. Hey, let's look at a story or a situation overseas in conflict resolution and why that was important. And you know what? Here's a great story of how they used play to actually instigate a ceasefire among rebels. Whoa. Now you get social studies, language arts, history, all attached to what was considered unstructured play, you didn't need me. No, you do, because now you're having a living lab. So as a teacher, as an instructor, as an administrator, if you actually use that unstructured play time as a living lab and then take what you've observed and bring it into the classroom, it's purposeful, isn't it? And that's what I.
Right. Yeah, but you need the one adult there guiding them. You don't need all the 10 million people up at the higher levels shoving down the curriculum. And that's my point. Yeah, that's beautiful. I love what you're saying.
Right? We need hands-on heavy, right? We need people in the classroom. We need to decrease that teacher to student ratio so that they're getting more attention and not feeling overwhelmed by, the enormity of a classroom. So that's really, I think if we can go the other way, get more of the hands-on teachers in the classroom versus heavy, on the administrator side, right? The bureaucracy, it could really be powerful.
Yeah. And I like what Peggy says here. They can't learn how to solve those problems if they aren't experiencing them with supportive adults nearby to guide and nurture.
That living lab around that play moment. But I always point out to the adults, they do what they see. Children do what they see. So if the adults are really good at manipulating their thumbs and working on little screens, what do you think the children aspire to? If the children see the adults using play in a meaningful, uplifting, enriching way, they'll attach themselves to that. So I think that's part of the dilemma also, right? Is that, that's what I should aspire to, is what you're doing, how you're manipulating technology as opposed to allowing technology to amplify me as a person, letting technology take over my life, then okay, I'll do that. So that's the other piece of it, right? Is finding a way to be high tech and high touch.
So Kevin, there's definitely people out there that would say, this is, we have to buckle down on the science and math and reading because our kids are failing compared to, Finland and South Korea. We're not producing the scores on that single standardized test. What do you say to somebody like that? Which is, there's a lot of people that feel that way out there that, my kid has to be able to pass a test to get into college. I need him ready. I need her ready. I need them ready to get in there and pass those tests. What do you say to parents like that?
So do we want our children to be automatons, right? Robotic, right? Or do we want them to be human beings, right? Living, breathing, feeling, encouraging, supporting, empathetic. That's all comes from those playful moments, right? That all comes from those moments where it's unstructured. The tests, I get it. Listen, I loved school. I loved learning. I loved being challenged academically. I loved it. But I also knew that movement was my mojo. That when my body was moving, my mind was free, right? I knew that, right? And I got all my ideas out at recess, and then I could channel that energy into my academics when I came back in class. And I was really fortunate that I had teachers who identified that in me really quickly. That movement was important for me. And but the ratio of the classroom was smaller, all those things that I was really fortunate to enjoy. So now when I go into schools and you find a few of those teachers who get it, but they're outnumbered now. And so they're frustrated and they don't feel like they have a voice. And I just feel like we have to keep fighting the good fight for them, right? Because if they can find a chance to raise their voice and to be heard, they can break through. And you got to do it one school at a time, right? One grade level at a time. You got to find a way to do that. Then there's this great quote, my actions may seem small, but their collective impact will be great. So you got to do your part. You can't be so flustered and frustrated that, what does it matter? Throw your hands up, I'm done. Can't do it. You have to be willing to fight the noble fight on behalf of this. And that's really, not everybody's up to that task, are they?
No, and I love the what you're talking about is creating a purpose for doing these things, because I do know there's a lot of teachers out there that want to follow the rules and that want to make sure they're doing what somebody's telling them that they need to do and that's important. And it's not out of their disregard for play or disregard. They love their students more than anything. It's more that they want to make sure they're following these rules. And I see a big part of this as administrators that need to say, hey, we need to be advocates and protectors of kids, not protectors of the system and testing and protectors of those results on the other hand.
Yeah, no, that's spot on, man. And
Amen.
How do they
That's
become
right.
those nurturers again, right? Those encouragers again, those believers, right? And being able to create environments where children come in so exhilarated about being there, right? That it's an oasis of possibility. That they come to their school. When I went to school, it was this oasis of possibility. It was the place that I was departing my hard scrabble, dysfunctional home life. And every time I went there, it was an oasis. And I knew that, right? And I could count on that. And I think that's what we've lost, that ability to create that oasis for children. To be able to come there and know they're going to be nurtured, to know they're going to be challenged, know that they're going to be pushed to their max, right? To bring their best. And I think you're spot on, all the rules and all those things. And, but they always say it's always good to have a few contrarians in there, right? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
A few of those positive deviants are never a bad thing to have within your staff and faculty, right?
Absolutely. Hey, Kevin, so where does a teacher, what's the first step they need to take? Like if they're, for the audience that's listening right now and they want to, they buy this, they're ready to do this, what do they do first?
I think it's really, you got to build community, right? You got to feel like you're not alone. And so you have to find other like-minded people within, your staff and in the community outside, like the parents. So who are the parents who are believing in this? Who within our staff believes in this? How can we actually start to affect the curriculum in a positive way, and not to do it in a way where it just, topples over the apple cart, as they say, right? And it just makes people lose their minds. Let's do it incrementally, but let's have some wins and really fight for those little incremental wins. Because many times, listen, if we can get 3 15-minute breaks, that's 45 minutes out of a school day, we win, versus 45 solid. So start thinking about it that way.
Yeah.
So I think the more that we can surround ourselves with more like-minded people who believe in the same things, and then, hey, how could we actually have some small wins that, cumulatively become a big win, and start to do that. Find administrators who believe, I know Susan and John, I get it. I know we're supposed to do. Okay, so if you get it and you're the superintendent, could we do this? Well, within the rules and the school board, we do have this window here. That's all we need. So how could we actually use that? If I could only give you 15 minutes, well, this is what we could do. Well, then let's do that. And then if you can start to create momentum and inertia and energy around that, and teachers start to realize their students are behaving differently, or wow, they're testing better, or they're more focused, or I can get more productive time in the classroom, that builds more energy behind the idea. So I think we go, how do you eat that elephant? One bite at a time. So let's go little small bites, but build community, get people who are like-minded and believers. Know that you can't do it at the teacher and faculty level. You need this, you need the administrators. Find the sympathizers, the place sympathizers within that administration, and just keep sharing with them and finding ways to get them to actually advocate on behalf of the idea. So no small task, right? I mean, it's not a small task. It's not a quick fix to it. But I'll say it again. If each of us chooses to do our part, if we choose to do our part, we can affect change. I know we can. I know we can have the impact that we want to have. It might not be some big, panacea, right? We might not be able to do that and deliver something like that. But man, if we just do our part, I just know we can start to win this thing.
I love that. How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time?
Yeah. Well, let me just interject a personal thought on that. And I know Scott would feel the same way. We both have been teaching for a long time. We both have won awards. And so you think, well, once you've been teaching a long time and you start winning awards, then you must have your act together, right? I mean, 2 years ago, if you would have given me this message, after I've been teaching, this is my 28th year of teaching, I would have been like, that's nice. And I wouldn't have really bought it that much. But I've changed over the last couple of years. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that there are people that are going to listen to the show that think, I've been teaching, I know what I'm doing. And, how can I change this now? Well, I changed, and I am so glad I did. Last May, and this is last May. I mean, we're only talking 2 months of school time, 3 months of school time, because, the summer doesn't count. Mm-hmm. And I started doing brain breaks with my kids. So the longest that they go is like 45, 50 minutes before I let them get out and run and unstructure. And we do go noodle, we jump around, we have fun, and they are so much more focused. And as I don't remember who it was, I saw somebody on a TED Talk that said, why do you do all these things for your kids? Why do you offer ballet and, soccer and da-da-da for your kids? You know why? Because I like kids.
Right? Yeah. But what was the
Because I like kids.
What was the catalyst that sparked you to go, wait, I need to do it?
Well, I'm going to let Scott address that. Scott was the catalyst through Peter Gray. He sent me a TED Talk from Peter Gray about play that really changed my life. And Scott and I don't know if you know about this, but Scott and I started last February. We started doing this thing called Global School Play Day.
No,
I'm going to let him tell you what it is.
When you hear somebody talk who's an expert and they really talk about the impact on kids, if you're not moved by that, I worry about your heart, because it is a heart issue to begin with. And so when you hear, somebody that's a respected research professor at Boston University talk about the negative impacts of kids that aren't having that play, like depression and increased suicide attempts, and he just lays out the case so beautifully for the purpose of play in a child's life and in adults in that case. But it's just hard not to be moved to take action at that point. And if you don't, it just feels like you get a little bit more jaded. And so, I think when you hear those things, it's hard not to make and take action.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
that was the catalyst.
That was the catalyst, I think, for both of us. I think we saw that the importance of play and things that are happening, but the catalyst that really drove us was to hear that and to and then to say we got to do something about this, is because we're seeing this in our kids. We've been seeing it for a while, and we see the shift in society, and this is absolutely out of balance and out of whack. And we brought in some really great, amazing people to work with us on that. And it's like you, Kevin. You're out there. You've been doing this for how many years? You've been talking about play and the importance of it. I wish I would have heard you at ISTE 2014, because it would have changed my perspective earlier. So how long have you been talking about this?
Plenty of years. Yeah, plenty of years.
20 years? Is that what you said? That cut out on me.
How long have you been talking about this, Kevin?
Well, I think it's interesting because I've been the embodiment of. I just had my 57th birthday, so 57 years, man. So let's see. I started talking when I was 504, so 53 years. 53 years. No, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. But I've been out.
You're not 57.
On the soapbox for, gosh, let's see, since maybe early 90s, getting on my soapbox about the importance of inspiring others and finding your joy. And then I would talk about it in terms of mine, right, which was play. So I think that was a big part of it. But one of the things I started to understand also was my goal to always be in beta, right, to always be improving. And I think that if we can get everyone to have that attitude about themselves, that I'm always in beta, I'm always improving, then you won't be like Tim was, right? Where, hey, 28 years, been getting accolades, I'm high-fiving myself, I'm kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And instead, you're like, wait, I'm getting recognized. How do I raise my game? Right? How do I raise my game now? Right? And that's really the ultimate challenge. right, is to how can I be a back-to-back-to-back-to-back champion, right? How can I start to do that and want to be a high performer, period. And the more that we choose that attitude as educators, as human beings, that shifts the game, right? That's a game changer, right? Is that I'm always in beta. So always believing that about yourself, that means you're always going to try to improve. So I think now that you've had, your epiphany, your enlightenment has happened, right? And your brother kind of dropped some knowledge on you, right? You're never going back, right? You're never going back.
No.
You can't, right? Because you right? I've seen the light kind of a deal, right? It's like, and I can't return back to what I can't ignore it. And I think that's more what we have to get others to see that light, right? To recognize that, but also want to improve themselves, not to rest on their laurels, not to settle. Because what you know to be true is my students are different every year. Shoot, they're different every day, right?
Totally. Yeah. Love it. I love it, Kevin. You have just such a great message. And we're not here to plug Global School Play Day, but we want to let our listeners know that we are passionate. We're on the same team as you to get kids with more unstructured play in their lives. And so we're hoping that our listeners will go to globalschoolplayday.com. It's not a business. It's not a charity. It's nothing. It's just a movement that we want to get kids playing again. Yeah. And so, the NFL has their Play 60 idea. Well, we're taking that idea into the schools and saying, let's play in the
Okay.
schools to send a message.
Like there was so much electricity and passion in that message. Tim, are you back?
I don't know.
I think you short-circuited the internet right there, brother.
You did, man. You must have sent out a powerful message right there, and we're all leaning in, like waiting for it. It's like, what?
Finish what did
you broke the internet, bro?
What cut out? I don't even know where I cut out because I was still live over here.
I know, that was amazing. Like I don't even know where you cut out. I was just so
I was getting misty.
I think you were kind of wrapping up like just how important play is for kids.
Yeah, February 2016. Did that get in there?
No.
Okay, February 2016, Global School Play Day, February 3rd. We want everybody to join in on the movement. It's not a business, no money involved in anything having to do with this. It's just get the word out and let's get kids playing again. Yeah. One of the things that really got to me is that I have 4 kids and I've got 3 older ones and then one, big gap between them. And the 3 older ones back in the 90s, they were out in the street playing. They had friends around. They were kicking balls. They were doing all kinds of stuff. And my younger one is like the device, my streets are like ghost towns right now. I'm looking out the window right now. There's not a single kid on the whole street, and it's 4:10 in the afternoon. It's like, where are all the kids? So, well, granted, it's 100 degrees outside.
Well, they should have be like water balloon fights or something.
Yeah, let's squirt each other.
Yeah. But the technology, one of the things that I truly believe is an opportunity for the gaming industry is to start to build this level up attitude, right? So use your device, use your game. Oh, it stops. You want to unlock some things, you want to level up, you have to now go and do a physical activity, come in, earn your points outside, come in and plug back in, and let's see what you got. And it unlocks specific things in the game that maybe someone that you're playing with, they don't get it. They don't get those unlocks. They don't get those things. Maybe it takes you and accelerates you beyond levels or whatever. And I think they can do that if they want. Yeah. I know they can, right? But where is the money? The money is in their partnership with the food industry, right? To have you snacking and playing.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the challenge, right? Is if we can get to, the video game industry and start to get them, because they have the ability to do it. But when we were young, we would watch the Olympics, right? You'd watch the Olympics, and what was the first thing you did? You went outside and tried to do the same thing, right? You basically tried to replicate a bobsled using a tray or whatever.
And you just about killed yourself, yeah.
But you were trying, yes, but you were literally trying to take that amazing moment and make it your own. You were going out to experience it. So the video games, I truly believe, should inspire activity. But then in return, you get something for the activity. You can come back and play again, but you level up. And I just think I'm not, in any way anti-technology or anti-gaming. I love it. I think it's amazing. But I think
a little cardboard down a grass hill never hurt anyone. A little tumbles on the cement sidewalk, no big deal.
Evel Knievel, man. I was all about Evel Knievel.
There's an amazing family.
Yeah.
Yes, right? There's an amazing family down the street from my house. And it's like twice a month. I don't know where they go, but they bring these stacks of boxes for their kids. And you see these kids, the whole neighborhood comes, their block, and these kids start constructing things. It's so beautiful to watch. And I just stand there and marvel at these parents who realize the importance of giving their kids their cardboard box moments. And the kids, no one's taking selfies, no one's got their devices, these kids are just in it trying to figure out, what can we do with this? And there's collaboration, there's teamwork, there's problem solving, there's ingenuity, there's innovation. There's new iterations. Hey, what can we do with it now? It rained yesterday, so we lost half of our castle. But what can we do? I mean, just wonderful opportunities to tap into imagination, and not the imagination, not the image that someone told you it should look like. You create.
Wow. Hey, if you're listening and you haven't already gone to Kevin's website, you need to go there now. That's what I'm talking about. Connect with this guy. He is amazing. He has an incredible voice. Tim?
Yeah, I don't know why anybody would be listening to this that still doesn't want to just get their kids outside and play and maybe order a new fridge. Because I mean, where are you going to get the cardboard box without getting a new fridge, right?
Or just troll your neighborhood for people for the appliance card, right? Trucks. Oh, they're getting something. Let's wait.
That was our favorite moment, man. Is when my parents got a new washer and dryer or something, man. And you got the cardboard box, right?
Wait, did we get a new washer and dryer, Tim? I don't remember that.
That was before you were born. And then the next time after that was like about 3 years ago, I think. Anyway. Hey, speaking of play, Kevin, do you mind if we play with you a little bit? All right. Okay.
Yeah,
we're going to play a little game with you that we're going to call Toy Story 4. Scott, tell our audience who Kevin will be playing for today.
Kevin will be playing for Robert, a 5th grade teacher in Canada. If, Kevin, you're able to answer 2 out of 3 questions correctly, just 2 out of 3, that's 67%. Then Robert will be awarded a free album download for the ridiculously popular edu rock band Rockin' the Standards, created by one Tim Bedley and friends.
We like to play, different kind of play, but okay. So Kevin, you're an advocate for play, so we're going to test your knowledge of children's toys. Here's your first question, and good luck. Toy maker Giant Microbe is making available which of the following strange toys for kids? Is it A,
Mr. Termite? Add the insect parts onto Mr. Termite before time runs out.
Or is it B,
Bedbug? Hey, that's what I used to be called in high school, Tim. Sorry. Tuck someone in with our bedbug and we guarantee pleasant dreams.
Or is it C,
Fungi, the fun guy? Don't be afraid to play with our little fella. Just keep him out of your mouth.
So one of these is actually real. It's from the Giant Microbe Company. Don't Google it because you'll find it on the internet. Is it A, Mr. Termite, B, Bedbug, or C, Fungi, the fun guy? Mr. Termite.
A.
Okay. And unfortunately, you're wrong. It was the Bedbug. That's a great thing to give to kids, isn't it?
The Bedbug.
Here's a Bedbug to go to bed with.
I don't know about that Bedbug thing. There's been an infestation of that in New York City. I got worried right there. I was like, what? Is that what they're trying to tell people? It's a game.
I went to Paul Revere's house in Boston, and I learned about bed bugs. You know what? That comes, Sleep tight, don't let the bed bug bite. You've heard that, right? You know where that comes from?
Yes. Yeah. Wait, I heard that on Big Bang Theory. They actually had.
You can learn something from. No,
what was that?
You know, back in the day, in the colonial times,
man.
the beds were made out of like a giant straw and a giant pillow, and they had ropes going back and forth between a frame that held up the pillow. And so they would have to empty out the straw sometimes because the bed bugs would get inside, the hay, and they'd have bed bugs in there. So anyway.
See, I got called bed bug by the substitute teacher that I was bugging all the time.
Not you, Scott. You were perfect.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I was far from perfect, Tim Bedley.
That must have been after I moved out of the house and stopped keeping an eye on you, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, Kevin, you still have a chance. Here's your next question. Which of these weird toys actually exists? Is it A?
The Alaskan crab fisherman figurines. Playmobil makes little figurines in the shape of hundreds of different professionals, but only the Alaskan crab fisherman figurines provide children with a stark reminder that some people have to die while at work.
Or is it B?
Who writes these questions? Jeez.
Is it B?
Earbud. What? I can't even read this.
Would you like me to read it for you?
Yes, read it for me, Tim.
Earbud bondage. Why you'd ever feel the need to conceal a set of earbuds in a doll wearing a bondage mask is beyond us. Although it's probably a small blessing that it's not withdrawn. Never mind that part. Okay. Or
yes.
Oh my gosh! See why I couldn't read that, audience members? C? Oh, this is even better, Tim. Holy smokes! Flying poop. The thing flying out of the toilet appears to be a plastic piece of poop, molded in the traditional popular swirl cone shape. Projectile excrement is a popular prank in Japan, and the workplace injuries that result are a major drain on the economy.
So believe it or not, one of these is actually real, Kevin. Is it Alaskan crab fisherman figures or figurines? Is it the earbud bondage where the earbuds are...
You got to give a clue on this one, Tim.
Or is it
this is brutal.
Poop out of Japan?
We want Robert to win.
Okay. You got it right!
Ah!
Yes, there was actually... Okay.
That wasn't hard. I mean, look, there's little turd like bottles and stuff that people leave behind. So I figured that's not a far reach right there. That's just.
Have you seen that Saturday Night Live sketch for the 60 Minutes with the "It's a Minkman, Mike"? Have you seen that? With the
what are you talking about?
Anyway, 60 Minutes. Okay. It's great. Okay. Here's our final question. No pressure, but you have to get this one right. Which of the following toys was banned because it was just too violent? Okay, it was a real toy, and it was banned because it was too violent. Is it A?
The Atomic Energy Laboratory. In 1951, A.C. Gilbert, inventor of the Erector set, released the U-238 Atomic Energy Lab. Using real radioactive material, one could witness mist trails created by particles of ionized radiation. The set, including 4 uranium-bearing ore samples, and originally sold for just $49.50 at a Woolworths near you.
Okay, so that's the first toy, the Atomic Energy Laboratory. Or is it B that actually was banned because it was too violent?
The Spanish Matador Cabbage Patch doll. Fans of the popular 90s dolls were very upset that sweet little Cabbage Patch doll was wearing a matador's costume, usually worn when bulls are ritually killed in the bull ring as a public spectacle. Cabbage Patch Kids fans, including actress Alicia Silverstone, wrote letters asking that they discontinue this toy.
Okay, so there's your first 2 choices. Or is it C?
Belt buckle switchblade. In 1959, Mattel introduced the belt buckle switchblade toy. To unsuspecting bad guys, this unique belt buckle looked harmless, but when the user extended his stomach, the switchblade swung out, stabbing at the pseudo criminal. Unfortunately, the blade was made of metal and actually did cause some serious harm to enthusiastic children.
So, Kevin, we have three choices, and one of these was actually a real toy that was banned.
Holy moly.
The Atomic Energy Laboratory. Is it the Spanish Matador Cabbage Patch doll, or is it the Belt Buckle Switchblade?
Yeah, any clues here, Tim? I mean,
let's let him give it a shot here first.
What year was the Cabbage Patch?
That was popular in the 90s.
Doll.
It came out. We didn't have a date on that.
No, that was
yeah, fans
we
of
don't
the
have a date.
90s doll.
We don't have a date on that one in terms of when it actually came out. Are you sure? You
B.
want B?
I go
because
with
B sounds really good, but it might not be right. No, it might not be right.
Might not be right, yeah. I know. I like the Woolworth thing, too, though. I like that idea of Woolworth.
Yeah.
It's like, if you give me that kind of detail, and I know that they actually did that, but, I think, though...
Are you thinking maybe the...
I don't think I'd want to... I can't imagine Mattel actually doing...
Yeah, you're right. That's probably not,
That seems far-fetched to me.
That's pretty far-fetched, yeah. No. That's
not a toy, per se.
No,
how dare they?
Yeah, so that's not going.
The Atomic Energy Laboratory. How did you guess? That's absolutely correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, in 1951, they actually had an atomic energy laboratory for kids to play with. It came with 4 uranium-bearing ore samples.
I figured they didn't know enough yet. So they didn't know any better. Like,
so what toy of today will they be saying that about?
Nowadays, though, we don't give kids anything to play with because they'll hurt themselves no matter what it is,
No, those iPads, they're no problem with those iPads. Exactly. No radiation off those things.
No, not at all. Scott, how did Kevin do on today's quiz?
Kevin, you got 2 out of 3 correct, and that's good enough to be a winner.
Yeah! Woo!
Congratulations, Kevin. You've won absolutely nothing. But Robert from Canada just won a free download of the Rockin' the Standards album.
There you go. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks for
being a good sport and modeling some good play for us there. We totally appreciate it, and I know Bob is going to love having the album. Thanks to you. Yeah.
Done.
So tell our listeners now that you have lots of new fans out there, how can they connect with you in the future, learn more from you beyond today's show?
If you just go on any of the social media platforms, I use the same handle, KC Catalyst with a K. So KC Katallyst. That's it. So at KC Catalyst, you can find all my other stuff, links to all my things, and find out more
Hey, Kevin, remember what you said about at the beginning of the show when family members show up? Guess who just popped in, Tim, to the recording here? It's Gene Bedley.
Just when we're giving questions about weird earbuds and stuff, It's like, I'm sure Dad loved that one. Sorry, Dad.
Tim wrote the questions, not me.
There you go.
But Scott approved it.
Bedleys are in the house.
Okay. Well, thanks again for being on the show, Kevin. I sure hope we can talk to you again sometime because I know that you have so many other topics that you're passionate about that our audience would love to learn from you on. And so I'm hoping we can have you on again soon.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Thanks so much, Kevin. And Tim?
Thanks for watching.
And joining.
There he is.
Mom and Dad.
And especially Dad, but Mom's probably looking over his shoulder there, Okay.